This video is going to talk about how to evaluate information or evaluate sources for their quality. This is generally done with websites that are found when searching the open web. When using library resources, they are already evaluated for quality, and so this method does not have to be employed. Sift was first created by Mike Caulfield and has 4 different steps or moves, which I will be going over. Basically, when you are using any kind of source at a college level, the assumption is that you will use a high quality source of information. And when you find something using the open web, when using Google, you are the one who has to figure out whether or not that is a high quality source. Basically, anyone can put some information out there on the web, and it is not necessarily going to be high quality. The information could be something that is made up in order to sell something or in order to convince you of a certain point of view for some reason, such as a political reason or not. Now, SIFT is 4 different steps. It's stop, investigate the source, find better coverage, and trace claims, quotes, and media back to their original context. Our first move is stop. When you first land on a website, stop and ask yourself, do I know the reputation of this website or source of information? In almost every case, the answer is going to be no, or at least not to the extent where it would be automatically something you could use for a class assignment. And so you would move on to these other steps. This is true for everyone. This is true for me, even though I have a working knowledge more so of maybe which websites are used at a college level. So everyone, for most of the time, move on and use the other steps. Maybe there's something like I'm researching a national park and I land on, the national parks website where I could just go ahead and use it. But again, in almost every case, move on to the additional steps. Now, I also just like to remember this step as I do the rest of my research, because it's very easy to fall down a rabbit hole, to get distracted, and to move away from the original point of why we're doing research. So every once in a while, just stop and remind yourself why you're doing the search for the information. That way you can refocus. Our next move is to investigate. Investigate the source. Who are they? Why should you trust them? What are their, qualifications for knowing this information? What is their purpose, right? Why are they putting this information out there? Are they trying to sell a product? Are they trying to gain votes? Are they trying to convince you of a point for another reason? So what are their qualifications and what is their purpose for putting the information out there? Their agenda. So their expertise and their agenda. Now, you can use the website itself to find some information about them. A lot of websites will have an about page where they talk about, who they are and why they're doing this. But you shouldn't just trust the website itself to give you that information. You should also find other sources that will tell you about them. Now, this is a time where it is okay to use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not necessarily good for doing research into a topic, but really it is okay for getting background information. So not good for citing it as a source of information in your work, right? Just getting background information and figuring out other places to search for the information. Next move is to find better coverage. I would also say just find additional coverage of the same topic. And this will give you a good idea of whether there's consensus or disagreement on this topic. And you can try to figure out why that might be, right? Why, why might the two different sources not be giving you the exact same information? Perhaps, perhaps one website has a different agenda or different expertise that the other website does not. There's also a few examples on the slide of fact-checking websites. Snopes sometimes will cover things like public figures. It'll also cover urban legends. PolitiFact and factcheck.org are more about politicians. And then, of course, for images, you can do a reverse image search and try to figure out where they're being used. Our final move is called trace, and this is where you're tracing the claims and quotes and that are being made back to where they're originally coming from. Basically, like you would be expected to cite sources, cite where you're getting your information from in something like a research paper. The website should also be telling you where its information comes from. So, figure out if the website is telling you that, if it's quoting people like Dr. So-and-so, an expert in the field of archaeology at the, University of, whatever, is saying this information, right? Or if it isn't doing that at all. Are there links, there are hyperlinks to other sources that they're citing? Where are those? Is it only citing itself? Because that might be a red flag. Is it citing other high quality sources? Because that would be a very good sign. So again, where is its information coming from originally? And also, are they treating that information truthfully to the source it's coming from, or are they twisting it in some way? All right, so those are our 4 moves. I just want to mention a couple other library sources that you may want to use instead of the open web, in addition to our books and our articles. I had mentioned Wikipedia as a source to find background information on a topic. There's a better encyclopedia that the library has access to that would be probably more helpful. So here on the library's homepage, left-hand side where it says Dictionaries, Encyclopedias, and Thesauri, right at the top, Britannica Online is a encyclopedia where you can do a search for a topic and find an article. So I do animal cloning, for example. I find an article on cloning and genetics. That's going to give me good background information on this topic. Good and reliable background information on this topic. Also, another good source is if we go to books, movies, and music and scroll down, there's different streaming video sources. So I could, for example, go to Films on Demand and find a good academic quality source that is a video on the topic that I'm searching for. So I just want to stress once more that if you're finding sources on the library's homepage, those can be assumed to be high quality. But if you are doing a Google search, please use our Sift method in order to evaluate those sources for their quality. And then if at any time you have a question, please contact one of the librarians and we're happy to help you. If you're on the library page and you go to the left-hand side, Ask a Librarian is going to give you multiple different methods that you can use in order to contact us.